It's a largely peaceful protest where they just wanted what they're calling justice for so sorry. And right now you'll see basically they want justice for
Many of the activists believe that Torney was killed by friendly fire. The march is basically heavily on police on both sides.
Hopefully you've seen the video, now available, now online, 12th Antifa Killed. That was on January 18th. Now, beginning on January 18th, there were calls for violent revenge coming from Antifa and etc. And this is all based on my written report. There's a link for this. And I'm going to skip over pretty much most of this, yeah. There's just too much, but there's many examples of calls for violent revenge from various Antifa propaganda outlets and social media accounts and whatnot. And you know, of course, one of the people keeping track, Antifa Watch, doing a stellar job, of course. This is an example of something that was got this Twitter account taken down, but then Andy noticed that they just made a new account under a slightly different name, so calls for violence there. Now, of course, it started out as a sort of vigil, flowers, candles, whatnot. And if you want the details, you can check that out. Calls for a night of rage. This is short enough. Let's take a look at some of this. Yeah.
Seeking out nature.
A candlelight vigil was held on Wednesday night in Little Five Points to remember a protester the GBI said was living under this makeshift tent and was shot and killed after shooting a state trooper.
There is no peaceful resolution as long as their end goal is to destroy the forest.
The forest, dubbed Cop City by protesters, is where the future City of Atlanta Public Safety Training Center will be built. It's about an 85-acre plot of land along Key Road, considered the largest remaining green space in metro Atlanta. A group of people that call themselves the Forest Defenders have been living in the forest, protesting the development.
This is not over.
Now, the GBI says they arrested 4 people today as they were clearing the forest of who they described as trespassers. Now, at tonight's vigil, I was told there are still people hunkered down right now in the forest, whether it be on the ground or literally in tree houses they've built. Obviously, today was the biggest escalation we've seen in the clash between forest defenders and law enforcement, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens next.
We certainly will, Cody. Thank you. Meanwhile, last month, 5 other protesters were arrested as well, the day after another clash at the facility site. All were charged with domestic terrorism.
In the first installment of this series, this is the second, I went into those arrests in December of 2022, and also what happened before that leading up to this, and of course the killing that happened on January 18th. And again, this is still January 18th. Now, this is dated January 19th, but it's AM, so, you know, it bleeds over into after midnight. This is from Sean Keenan. Stop Cop City demonstrators marching down the street in Little Five Points. And there you go. And, you know, tweeting here. So, again, a lot of this I'm going to have to skip over, but these are threats and things like putting out information that's a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's the information you need to do bad stuff, but we're not going to tell you what exactly to do. But be angry because they killed one of us. What are you going to do about it? Kind of stuff right here. Here, they didn't blur out, the Antifa source didn't blur out these people's name and information. They were just sharing this, but this has been blurred out so as to not make it available. Since Andy No has a high interaction with Antifa types, he's not going to put out this stuff to make it easier for them to find it and spread it. So that's what he does. Calls for retaliation, solidarity. This is Antifa account saying things like solidarity attacks better spread like effing wildfire. F the police. Solidarity means attack. Fight like hell, things like that. A list of contractors and bankrollers responsible for the construction of Cop City, and the names and addresses across the country can be found here. And so on and so forth. Call for retaliation. Consider this a call for reciprocal violence to be done to the police and their allies. And wherever you are invited to participate in a night of rage in the memory of our fallen comrade. All right, and notice the Twitter account has an anarchy sign along with an AK-47, filler distro PGH, which PGH refers to Pittsburgh. All right, so more examples of these threats. We'll go back to the videos and whatnot soon, though. Here's another one. Don't be fooled by these here. These photos are not from a riot in Atlanta, because these were put out before there was a riot, or a riot like this in Atlanta. So this is just sort of, I guess, showing Molotov cocktails or whatever. I'm not sure. This may be Europe. This looks like it might be maybe France or Germany. But this is just them trying to rile each other up online. See, Florida Youth Liberation, you know, the YLF. This chapter is all over. And they're saying memory and vengeance for our martyr in Weelaunee Forest. That's what they call the patch of woods. Death to the state and capital. Stop Cop City. Okay? But you get the idea there. And by the way, the local Democratic Socialists of America, the Atlanta Democratic Socialists of America, starting before this riot, at that time, around January 20th or so, This is what it looked like. Stop Cop City, Save the Forest. Atlanta's ruling class is plotting to demolish hundreds of acres of historic forests to construct a new 80,600,000 cop academy. Let's stop them. By the way, Democratic Socialists of America, you know, Bernie Sanders, AOC, people like that. Think about that. If you're saying the whatever of, and then insert nation name right there, that is nationalism. Now, all of a sudden, that's a bad word for some reason to some people. It's pretty silly, but the kind of people who would get triggered by that are the kind of people who would vote for the Democratic Socialists of America candidate. Ironically, or not maybe not surprisingly. Okay, but notice again, Democratic Socialists of America symbol right there, and George Orwell's symbol for the party, as it were, or INGSOC, English Socialism, which is, think about it, nation name plus socialism in your party name equals a National Socialist Party. So in George Orwell, 1984, English socialism, nation socialism, national socialism, Democratic Socialists of America, socialist nation, national socialism. And do you remember, in Nazi Germany, the Nazis are national socialists. You know, Nazi is short for National Socialism. And they were the National Socialist Workers' Party. All right. Now, rational people are working this out in their mind. Irrational people are feeling very strong feelings over these statements. And they don't quite make sense in their minds, and they have to choose. Wait, which one of these I'm going to deny that one of the others is national. National has to be bad. It has to bad. It's bad. Wait, it's good, but my side is good. But national, short circuit. It's part of what I do. It's the art of truth trolling, folks. But you know that. If you're here, that means you can stand it anyway. So you get it. But seriously, folks, there's often a big overlap between the local DSA and Antifa cells. And that is true if you look on their social media accounts. Meanwhile, Jack Posobiec, Treehouse Antifa is not marching and throwing scooters into the road at Little 5 Points in Atlanta. What date was this? This was January 19th. Okay, so this is after midnight. So really, it was the morning of January 18th that the shooting took place, that the sheriff was very injured and the Antifa was killed, and it was past midnight that this march turned into a little bit of a hissy fit. Let's watch. Defend the forest, and if you know the last video we did on this, they're saying defend the forest, but meanwhile they light fires in the forest, and oh my goodness.
It just sounded like they
video
were
before
chanting
that
about wanting pasta and spaghetti.
No, they're saying defend the forest, and then that turns into Stop Cop City.
Oh,
but
that's what the pasta and the spaghetti is. Alright. Sorry, that's just what I was hearing. I'm like, are they hungry?
Yeah, that's what
they sound hungry. I know most of them are probably thirsty.
Well, you know, they're vegans, so they're perpetually hungry.
Yeah.
Antifa's Unicorn Riot claimed about the night of January, regarding, I should say, the night of January 18th, that in the evening, community members mourned and held space for Tehran on Finley, a location. The vigil turned into a march, and as at least 100 people chose to hold space for the forest defender in the streets, unquote. That's what they call blocking the roads, holding space, like it's some sort of noble thing, and if you call it that, it has some sort of mystical quality to them in their mind, because it doesn't actually make sense, so therefore it hits that fuzzy area of like, ooh, I don't understand, that's mystical. Because, yeah, you don't understand, because it doesn't really make sense. Like, everything from critical theory, the whole woke, regressive left, or what they call progressive, Doesn't make sense, of course. And so it gives them a sort of mystical quality, and then there's the feelings, and it becomes, it hits the emotional part of the brain. There is, let's see, do I have this with me? Somewhere on my shelf, I have this book called Neurotheology, where they get right into neuroimaging and other ways of monitoring and mapping what's going on in the brain when people have, say, mystical and religious experiences, and there's no reason why they can't do that for, say, people who are engaging in these things where they really are these people who are caught up, and you could see that they're true believers. They're the ideologues that Orwell says will get exterminated. He says that, he shows you that in the story in 1984. But the people who have a raptness for these things, they're ideologues. You can neuroimage their brains, and I would predict that the same areas of the brain light up for them as people who are having, say, when they're going to church and they're really getting into it, for example. But yeah, there's ways of mapping them. They have been doing that. There's certain doctors. I haven't really, I have not read this fully, only selectively, but I have in my hands what is the textbook for a course being held at University of Pennsylvania, USA. But it's Principles of Neurotheology by Andrew B. Newberg. They go into, among other things, how they neuroimage or otherwise monitor what goes on in the brain when people have religious or mystical experiences.
Yeah, and the thing is like what usually is something that gets left out because it's a different part is the scent relay.
Yeah.
As your brain is experiencing this thing, that's how the group hypnosis works, like the group hysterics. Like one person feels the power, now two feel it, now three, now five, now eight.
Yeah.
It's a chemical relay.
Yeah, and so it spreads like a Dionysian kind of
the
thing.
The right chemical smell.
Yeah.
The person closest who is most receptive picked up the smell.
Yeah.
Their brain copied it, created the smell again, and passed it to the next one.
Yeah.
This is how more than one person in a group can experience the exact same thing. And it's because your brains told each other to feel that. You all have the same chemical similarities. You're not the same chemically, but you're close. And so you can trigger one another. And if you get a group of 50 people, there's a good chance a lot of those 50 people are similar.
Yep.
Or similar enough to trigger.
All right, so check this out. The night after Tortuguita or Cami or whatever you want to call he, him, Zims, or it was killed, these people went on the march, and you saw some video so far, and here's a shot being put out by, you can see down here, Unicorn Riot. So this is a pro-Antifa propaganda media outlet right here, Unicorn Riot, that put this out in their tweet, and you could clearly see the Antifa flag. So this is something that they are saying, here you go, this is what's going on, this is the truth. They're not saying, hey, this is a false flag or anything like that. So there's really no question that this is an Antifa activity going on here. And they also put out this picture here. You can see somebody slapped a sticker on the street sign, Blue Lives Don't Matter. A bit threatening. And here's my own cropping and close-up of that first picture I just showed you. This is going on at the same time. This was put out in the AM the next day, but the same night this was going on in Portland. In the typical fallible wisdom of Portland anarchists, they defaced a playground and facilities of Alberta Park last night. Why, you ask? Well, because an anarchist was shot and killed after opening fire on police in Atlanta, Georgia, 3,000 miles away from Portland.
Yeah, is that sensible?
Portland, Washington, other side of the United States, other side of the continent. Stop Cop City, anti-fash, Antifa flags there. Kill the cops. Stop Cop City. Burn the peace. Burn the something before they burn the forest. Oh, burn the precinct before they burn the forest. Stop Cop City. All cops are bastard. 1312. This one here is something in Germany. In Atlanta wird gestern ein Mensch der ein Wohlderang vor ein Übel. Something about police blockade. And men in solidarity, I think, with Atlanta, let's see, is there a trend? Yesterday in Atlanta, the police murdered a protester where people are defending the forest from being chopped down for the development of a police training facility. And I believe they speak in English, so why not watch this?
Today in Atlanta, the police murdered a protester where people are defending the forests from being chopped down for the development of a police training facility. The reckless police violence against climate activists in Lutzy and forest defenders in Atlanta shows the lengths that the police will go to protect the interests of capital. This is exactly why we call for the abolition of the police and why the Cop City project in Atlanta must be stopped. From Lützerath to Atlanta, we demand justice.
Stop Cop City! Abolish the police! Stop Cop City! Abolish the police!
Yeah. Travis Hills, the Dark Angel, you're lucky for learning German in high school. I wish I learned that. Ja, but ich nicht sprechen Sie Deutsch gut. I don't speak German well. And my high school German teacher was a bit of a perv. We are now on January 19th. This is the day after the Antifa was killed. Antifa was killed. A 12th Antifa person in the United States of America was killed on January 18th, 2023. And then there was calls for revenge and violent reciprocal violence and all this sort of stuff. And we're going to skip over most of them, but there's just a lot of it, a wealth of it. You know, and it's on, you know, they say, oh, you know, Antifa became a right-wing echo chamber. Meanwhile, this is all on Twitter and other social media. And by the way, there's posters going out at this point in time. You can see here is a footnote in my written report here. Okay, this is my written report. And there are posters going out all over the United States calling for people in all sorts of cities to march and to get angry and have a night of rage for this 12th Antifa killed. And in the footnotes, there's a great number of them. I didn't want to put them here because it would just be too many to scroll past. Calls for protests, quote-unquote, and revenge across the nation on January 20th, 2023. And on January 20th, at 5:28 a.m., local WSB TV News reported Twitter suspends account calling for night of rage following protester death. And they report, quote, Twitter officials suspended an account that called for a night of rage after law enforcement officials shot and killed a protester on Wednesday, unquote. Scenes from the Atlanta forest. But they pop up again under a slightly different name. I forget what it is, but we'll see. But later that morning, this was tweeted, and I archived it just in case this was ever taken down. This is from Filler Distro, PGH, signaling that they're Pittsburgh area. And you can see it's a saw blade. And reciprocal saw blades, just for harvesting catalytic converters, laughing my ass off, they say. All right. And this is one of those accounts they're calling for violent revenge. Some hours later, Defend the Forest Atlanta, stand up for Tortuguita, protester killed by Georgia police Saturday, January 21st. They're not saying he was killed on January 21st. They want you to stand up on January 21st. And this may have been taken down. Let's see.
There comes a time when we all must take responsibility for our future, for our communities, for ourselves. We all must answer to a higher calling, beyond the simple facts of daily existence. We can't allow Cop City to be built. We will reach deep into our hearts for the courage and the fortitude required to see that this project is not completed, and that this life is not thrown away in vain.
Now, did you catch there, folks? The father with his baby girl here. Now, they're trying to give you a certain image. Meanwhile, it's the locals there, the family people, who feel terrorized. If you saw my first video about this, or if you see my written report, there are different accounts by local news people who are interviewing local people who live near the forest there who feel terrorized because these Antifas who are from out of state are coming in and lighting dumpsters on fire, houses on fire, vehicles on fire, not just on this particular riot, but this has been going on for quite some time.
In general, they suck.
Yeah, so Tabby says in general they suck. But yeah, this has been going on for quite some time there in that particular place, and over this Stop Cop City thing, or at least it's in the excuse, as one of you said in the live chat. And reports on calls for revenge across the nation, and that's available. Here's some treehouse Antifa somewhere. Where is this one here? Let's see here. Oakland and Miami. I'm not sure where this photo. This looks to me more like it would be Oakland than Miami, but what do I know? No forest, no peace. Truck the police, and they have an overturned truck. No Cop City, it says on it. Defend the forest. 1312, which is all cops are bastards. Thank you for that. Yay. More examples and etc. And again, that's just there are a few examples in the footnotes. There are many examples. All tactics welcome. You know what that means? All tactics welcome, meaning like you can march with a sign. You can have flowers in your hand and a candle and stuff like that. You can wear a green hat. But you can also blow up a police car and respect the diversity of tactics. Again, we are now on January 20th. This is the night before, maybe, I guess you could say, the last big riot. Police on high alert after far-left Antifa. Okay, let's take a look. This is local reporting the night before that cop car was burned.
Atlanta police are on high alert because of threats of violence. Days after officers killed a protester. This morning, 7 protesters are behind bars, all facing domestic terrorism charges. It's the latest in a series of demonstrations at the site of a proposed police training facility. Channel 2's Brian Mims is live for us at the DeKalb County Jail. And Brian, these arrests are not stopping other protesters.
Exactly. A small but very loud group of protesters gathered here last night. They came to support those locked up here, saying they do not deserve to be in jail. On Thursday night, protesters hoped the 7 demonstrators jailed in DeKalb County could hear them.
The state of Georgia is trying to arrest and suppress and literally murder peaceful protesters.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation says over the past year, demonstrations against the proposed police training center here have been anything but peaceful. It says protesters have set fires, thrown Molotov cocktails, and vandalized contractor offices. And the GBI says on Wednesday, officers were trying to get those who set up camp in the woods to leave. It says that's when Manuel Tehran shot a trooper, putting him in the hospital. Officers say they shot back, killing Tehran.
We need an independent investigation, as community movement voters has asked for, because we don't believe it happened the way that the police said that it happened.
On Instagram, Stop Cop City posted this photo of Tehran, saying he spent time between Atlanta and Florida. We looked into the background of the 7 protesters arrested. Some had no criminal offenses on record. Others had violations relating to traffic or drug and alcohol offenses. Records show, like Tehran, they do not live in Georgia. They have addresses as far away as Maine and Ohio.
Literal state suppression, and it's happening right here in Atlanta.
Shortly after the shooting, flyers calling for a night of rage and violent retaliation began circulating. They made no specifics on a location, but Twitter has suspended the account that announced that violence is going to happen. Neighbors, meanwhile, around that site are on high alert. We'll hear from them coming up in our next half hour.
Yeah, and of course, we're hoping this gets resolved relatively quickly, Brian, but it was interesting to see where all of those people arrested were from all around the country, as opposed to being from right here. Thank you, Brian.
So you may have noticed people with the green baseball caps. Some of you in the chat have pointed out. NLG, National Lawyers Guild. 2 minutes after Andy No's tweet above, the NLG tweeted the following. Quote, NLG is in solidarity with the movement to stop Cop City and defend Weelaunee Forest. Here are some ways to support the defense of the forest. Donate to Atlanta Soul Fund? Not sure. Well, anyway, solidarity fund, etc.
Give us money to riot in your city.
Basically, yes. Give us money to riot in your city and support us. We're the guys in the green hats that lie in court. They're basically there to say, look, I was there, and no, they didn't do that thing when they damn well saw it happen.
Yeah.
It's lawfare, is what they call it. So Andy is saying, I wrote a whole book on this. There are dozens of roles in any violent Antifa conspiracy. The riot is only one part. You have the human body shields, fake medics, those who shut down traffic, cop watchers, umbrella/banner shield brigade, National Lawyers Guild members, and more, unquote. Saying police in high alert. More threats and more stuff. Again, you can see all this by clicking on the first or maybe second link below in the description. We have this here. Let's check this out.
We construct barricades to keep police out, police, construction, contracting companies. You hear gunshots all the time because there's a police firing range in this. Yeah, you can hear those shots right there.
Occupying this forest is how activists are resisting the construction of a $90 million state-of-the-art police training center protesters call Cop City. The facility will be developed on one of the largest green spaces in Southeast Atlanta, which has a history of oppression.
All of it. It will be clear-cut.
They cannot wait. They just want to go in and bulldoze everything and then write the history the way that they want to write it.
The fate of the forest is up in the air as the police and forest defenders both refuse to back down.
Those people, to me, through their acts, are actually domestic terrorists.
Major corporations are pouring millions into this project, financially pressuring politicians to build Cop City.
Why did you vote to approve this facility?
Surrounding neighborhoods that are more than 75% black say their concerns have been silenced.
Our opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
It's disrespect. And that's what folks who live here ought to be just enraged about.
Now, again, notice that they're putting on this spectacle of, like, the common folk here are like, what about us? What about our voices? What about us? Meanwhile, they're ignoring the fact that Antifa, coming in from out of state, are terrorizing just those people. Now, somehow they found some people, I don't know exactly, what kind of editing they did of what people they interviewed where, at what point in time, or whatever. But if you look into the news reports of just local news stations, there are plenty of people being interviewed who are from that area who are saying that, yeah, they burned down these two houses here, they put this dumpster on fire, they were lighting off fireworks outside of this police station, setting a fire here and there, terrorizing the locals who don't feel safe walking their dogs or with their kids, playing outside. Riot on January 21st, 2023. All right, so some of the rioting could be seen in the live stream that we've been looking at, and it's pretty funny. I think this is pretty funny. At 32 minutes, 23 seconds, roughly, the march that has been going on for a while, they have a little bit of a, let's say, a disagreement as to which direction they go into. It's pretty funny.
Go north! Hey. Go fucking north! We're going over here! This way! This way! No, we're going over here! Justice for Tortuguita! This way! This way! Go north! Stop the Capitol! Go north! No need to go to the Capitol! We're going this way, y'all! This way! Fuck the PS! They're trying to hijack the march! We're going this way, y'all!
Also, for folks, just to keep you updated on the whole situation, 13 of the other activists have been arrested and are being held on domestic terrorism charges. They were part of the forest defenders group, so they were camping out in the forest. Some of them were in the trees, and 13 of them are now facing charges for domestic terrorism. So it looks like, yeah, they're switching sides. They're going to come this way now. Here we go.
Eventually.
They are letting off fireworks in the street. That's the booms you're hearing right now. It is a planned training facility for law enforcement here in Atlanta. They are now smashing the police cars. We need to be careful. So they're letting off fireworks. We have police department running this way. Did you see that, Colin? All right, so there's going to be cops present here shortly. We just saw some police officers run back behind this building here. They have smashed up 2 of the Atlanta Police Department police vehicles. Sorry, yeah, careful. All right, so they're now targeting some of the buildings of, I believe, investors in the police foundation. Wells Fargo is one of the largest investors in the Atlanta Police Foundation. Colin, get that. There's another firework going on. All right, the police are now showing up. I can hear the sirens. We're going to run across the street there. Okay, the police is coming down on this side. They're going to meet the protesters in the front. We need to get to the front right now. Here come the police department. The march is basically kettled. We have police on both sides. Fireworks are going off. Colin, where are you? Oh, right behind me. They are making arrests.
Watch your back. Get out the street.
Press. Sorry. Let's keep moving back towards the protest. Press.
Unless down there. Keep moving. Disperse.
Press. Media.
Disperse.
We have every right to be here.
Get out of the road. Get out of the street.
I'm getting over here.
Get out of the street. You're going to jail. Get out of the street.
We're press. get another arrest. They're arresting. Multiple arrests here in the middle of the street. All right, we have multiple arrests. Colin, let's go back up. Let's stay on this.
Your decision. Your decision. You got your feet underneath you? Tell them where you want them to go. Take them there. If you don't walk, come on the track. Get your feet underneath you. And then if she doesn't want to walk, then you got to do what you got to do.
Up this way. There's a lot of smoke up here. We're going to walk up the street. There's a lot of smoke up here. We have a cop car or some car set on fire. Is that an Atlanta police? So they have let an Atlanta police vehicle is on fire. Yeah, we should back up. Back up, everybody. Were those shots from the car? That is actually kind of dangerous. Were those shots? Shots fired. Hard Rock Cafe, let's go.
Don't get too close. That motherfucker's going to blow up.
Where's Hard Rock Cafe? Do you guys know where Hard Rock Cafe is?
Right here on the corner.
They said shots fired at Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, that's right here on the corner.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was just the car then. All right, so we have an Atlanta Police Department vehicle that has been set on fire. One of the officers says shot fire, but press. Yeah. All right. Colin, see if you can zoom in on the... All right, so we are in downtown Atlanta for the Cop City protests, where Tort, who is a forest defender, was killed by a state trooper this week. There are 13 other activists that are facing charges of domestic terrorism by the GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Yes. Yes, I can stand here. Hello. So in the background, you can see that an Atlanta police vehicle has been set on fire. I did hear one of the cops say shots fired, but I think it was just backfire from the burning vehicle. So again, this is a protest against Cop City, which is the 85-acre police training compound that the city of Atlanta wants to build in the middle of a protected forest area. There have been activists that have been staged in the trees in the forest there now for almost a year. And they've been cleaning out the camp the last few weeks. It ended up with a standoff where one of the defenders was killed by a Georgia state trooper. Oh shit, it's gonna blow. So earlier in this evening, some of the marchers targeted some buildings associated with donators to the Police Foundation. The Police Foundation is mainly funded by corporate donors, and about $60 million of the $90 million necessary to build the Cop City will be coming from the Police Foundation. The remaining $30 million will be coming from taxpayers. Oh, sorry. All right, so the fire department is now putting the fire out on the vehicle. So we saw multiple arrests made already this evening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 that I saw. There were probably more. 6 at least. Okay, Colin counted 6. There's the Wells Fargo Bank. Again, Wells Fargo is one of the main donators to the Police Foundation. Let's see if we can cross the street without getting yelled at. Run across the street. All right, so this is where the Hard Rock Westin is. I'm wondering if some of the protesters went around the corner here, though. All right, Colin and I are gonna walk down the street around the corner to see if there's other things going on that we aren't aware of because of what's happening here. But again, there's a lot of anger out there. Protester was killed by the Georgia state troopers. The police are claiming that there's no body cam footage. They've released multiple conflicting statements about what happened. A lot of the activists believe that the officer that was shot in the abdomen was shot by friendly fire and not by Torta.
Now, this is going to happen as well. Protesters hit the... Okay, let's just look at the video.
Can you get your badge numbers?
Here's, is this the same video? As usual, the cops were tackling and arresting anybody that they could get their hands on, says this Twitter account. But let's watch the video of that happening, I guess.
Dragging somebody down, pulling someone to the ground, they're chasing people. Someone's down. One person's being arrested.
They were told They were told to get out of the street before this, and they chose to not get out of the street. So that's what happens. Now, this is showing the fire, perhaps, hopefully not from the same live stream that we showed you. Seems to be a different source.
Burning cop car. Got police with the rifles.
Yeah, so what ends up happening is you're polluting the environment.
Yeah, I thought.
And aiding capitalism, taxation,
AR-style.
more money.
AR-style rifles.
This source: police car on fire. Antifa vermin smash police cars and store windows in Atlanta, Georgia tonight. Watch live.
But an Atlanta police vehicle is on fire.
Okay, that sounds like the unicorn riot person, or the other one that
Or
we were
those
just
shots from
watching.
the car. That is actually kind of dangerous.
Downtown Atlanta is a war zone right now. Did we see this particular video of the arrest, or maybe we saw it from a different angle? Let's check this out.
Are you okay?
NLG.
Get out of the street! Got it? Will do.
This is another arrest, I think. We saw, I don't know if we saw this.
What did you do? What did they
So you can hide it? So you can hide it? Make it quick so you can hide it? We all got it on video.
What you got on video is the fact that she could breathe. Alright. Fun stuff. Okay, this is Notorious T. Okay, let's watch this.
Right here. Put him in fucking cuffs.
They are making arrests.
Watch her back. Get up the street! Get up the street! You're going to jail. Get up the street! You're going to jail. Get up the street!
Press.
Get out the street! Get out the street! You're going to jail. Get out the street! Get out the street! Or you're going to jail.
These vehicles set on fire. I think this is going to be a different source of the same fire. They did a little editing there. So you could see the fire responders, fire people putting out the fire there. Now here's more threats. January 22nd, Cop City will never exist, and one day cops won't exist either. And a single tree is worth infinitely more than the life of any cop. They go on to say, you know, what's better than one dead cop, 2, and then they keep going up to 12, and etc. Now, there's a lot for me to say and other people to say about all this, but I can't, and you folks don't have the patience, I'm sure, for all this. But very incriminating stuff coming from Antifa accounts all over the place, and trying to give you information by which you can use to take revenge on the higher up people who are involved in the Cop City project.
Burning cop car. Got police with the rifles.
I want to show you. This is what they were handing out at the protest. So it was a largely peaceful protest where they just wanted what they're calling justice so sorry. And right now you'll see basically they want justice for him.
Antifa watched some more video from Fox 5. Largely peaceful protest, quote unquote. Let's have a look. It's about 30 seconds.
Hey, can you guys hear us? State trooper was injured in a shooting, and if you're taking a look at video now, I can hear it in my ear. That is just some of the moments that you could see that protesters are throwing bricks at what I believe to be the Atlanta Police Foundation. Oh, hey, turn around. Can we come back? Someone actually, it looks like one of the Atlanta Police.
Oh, didn't finish his sentence. Let's see here. This, it looks like video footage that we have not seen, okay?
Stop Cop City! Oh. Oh, they bombing the police car. Oh, shit. Oh, they done bust the police car. Okay. Oh, they done bust the police car. Oh, shit. They going out there. Oh. Oh, they going all bad. You know what? I'm gonna stay toward the back. Damn, they going all bad.
All right, here's another video. This one's from Antifa Watch.
Shit, they trying to get in the goddamn. Oh. Oh, shit. And they wilding out there, bitch. Oh. Hey, this shit is out of control right now, boy. They done bust the bank windows. Oh,
Antifa Watch is on it. Tweeting a bit after that, you can see how Antifa were routed and in a panic became quite disorganized, not sure of which direction to go, then split. Arrests appeared to have occurred after the split.
What this shit that got dead for real?
Oh, shit. Well, troll might go to shoot, boy. Y'all playing. Hey! Hey! But y'all playing, boy. Oh, shit. Boy, troll finna get the busting, boy. Y'all playing, boy. Boy, y'all playing right now, boy. Boy, shit real right now. Shit real right now. But let me get around the corner with y'all, boy. But let me get around the corner with y'all. Hey, man, y'all shut my line, man. Shut my line, man. Shut my line, man. Shut my line, man. Y'all shut my line, man. Oh, they say don't go that way. Hey, they say don't go that way. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh. Shut my line, y'all. Oh, shit. Well, let me take this mask off, boy. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
This is my report now. Lawfare and more. Remember when people like Tommy Robinson, Lauren Southern, Enrique Tarrio, Joe Biggs, myself, and many others were financially unpersoned? There's a link there to my report about being financially unpersoned. In fact, I have a lot of reports. That is when banks and services and platforms like PayPal, Patreon, and YouTube decided that we were guilty of wrongthink, as if it were their business what we think or say, as if they have a moral standing from which to look down upon us and to judge. We are guilty of words. We are guilty of wrongthink. Meanwhile, as Andy No and others often point out, Antifa cells and individuals use Twitter and services like GoFundMe to fund their street terrorism. Here's a GoFundMe being used to raise money in memoriam of a domestic terrorist who allegedly shot someone and almost killed them. That's Sheriff. On January 22nd, 2023, Andy No tweeted this, seeing an opportunity for a cash grab. The original $50,000 fundraiser for the deceased gunman at the terrorist occupation in Atlanta has been doubled to $100,000. GoFundMe claims it does not allow fundraising for violent criminals, but here you see, there it is. That's a GoFundMe. Groups in any area where Antifa riots exist to bail them out. In Atlanta, for example, there is Atlanta Jail Support. Okay, again, the phrase jail support is more generalized, so you'll have like Portland Jail Support or this, that, the other jail support, and this and that in the other area where Antifa. So it's a way of saying, look, don't worry, go ahead and riot, we'll take care of you. It's removing the, consequences of their actions.
Exactly, just like mommy and daddy have always done.
Yeah.
But now lawyers are taking that position.
Yep.
Groups.
And so here they
Some
are.
of their parents too. Sorry, it's just a fact.
Yep. So here they are tweeting for the world to see, working to bail these folks out now. And they are retweeting this other group that is another one of those groups. And below is more evidence for that. But, there's a lot in my written report, folks, and they go on. And there's just so much here. Now, as much as I love to share with you all the work that I put into this stuff, and others too, like Antifa Watch there, who does stellar work. And oh, by the way, Georgia Bureau of Investigation replied to Stephen Donziger, who I believe is a journalist or fancies himself to be. He tweets, breaking: a widely circulated photo clearly shows members of the SWAT team in Atlanta that killed climate activist Manuel Tehran were wearing body cameras. Tehran's mother says her child was assassinated, so where is the footage? Now, at that point, they had not released it, but you could see there in circle in red that they did have cameras. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation replied to him with this: "This tweet is false. The officers in this picture were not near the incident at the time of the shooting." And that may be, they're standing outside the area. Some were stationed to stay outside the wooded area. So that may be. But notice they're not saying, but then some of them did have cameras in the woods. And again, this was before that was released. That was January 23rd when they tweeted that. But anyway, I asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, I am not pro-Antifa. As a reporter who often exposes Antifa, I have to ask, how/why was the incident not recorded? Are we to believe that it was incompetence? And if so, why would people that incompetent be allowed to have any power/authority? Also, why is money spent on cameras? The following day, January 24th, Andy No responded to Donziger's tweet above with this: "Your tweet is false and is part of the effort to throw any conspiracy out there hoping something sticks because you don't want the public to know that the autonomous zone gunman was a violent extremist. Georgia Bureau of Investigation called you out in your own tweet for spreading misinformation." Now, respect to Andy No where it's due, but I have to say, he's a little off here. Unless something is proven to be, we don't know. We can't really fairly say it is to be. And it's not fair. We don't really know what happened, at least not yet.
We got a good idea, but we don't know.
Yeah, we have a good idea, but we really don't know. I mean, I'm gonna predict this, okay? Even though you had and you saw in that video, folks, the other night, even though you have police on camera saying, "Oh man, they shot their own," talking, about there's different agencies, so they're saying law enforcement shot their own. And at one point, they're shooting at us. Now, that could refer to Antifa or other cops. We don't know. But they shot their own. They're saying that. I think that it's going to end up being the Antifa shot at the sheriff, and they shot back at the Antifa, but that they were really sloppy. It may be, though, that the sheriff was hit by friendly fire by accident because of incompetence. They were being very sloppy. And it may be that their response was to fire back at somebody in a tent. And that's how they, who knows? I really don't know what happened. But I'm still going to predict that they were shot by, and it's hard for me to explain exactly. It's not exactly, it's more of a gut feeling, but based on being steeped in all this information for weeks at a time, that seems to be what's going on. But also, that's not to say that they weren't sloppy, the police. They certainly were. But we'll see. Hopefully, we'll find out exactly what happened as time will go on. But outshined by another fire is what I call this chapter. When Tyre Nichols incident, when that incident caught wildfire attention, then the media immediately forgot about this killed Antifa person and the riots that happened afterwards. And you can see this is a map of riots breaking out all over the place about the Tyre Nichols thing. So they got outshined by that, and so there you go. And but then attention was brought back again, as we saw not too long ago when they had this sort of concert that they called it, and then afterwards a march. And then that made national news, so that's why I'm going back to the stuff that happened in January now, because it's of interest. Now, what do we have here? Some fun. This was tweeted. Defend Atlanta Forest. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers, they say. One response to this was this: remember, a spike won't hurt a full-grown tree. False. But man will it fuck up a chainsaw. And maybe the person wielding the chainsaw, by the way. But no, that's false. Spikes do hurt trees. My response was, why are you lying? Those give trees cancer. My initial response to that tweet was this: do you oppose the use of violent assault in these efforts to stop the project? My question was to defend the Atlanta forest. They would not respond. Someone responded to that with, "The project is the violence." I replied, "Against whom exactly?" And I also replied, "I noticed that you wrote that the deforestation is, quote-unquote, the violence, which implies that any other violence involved is not violence, which obviously is nonsensical. I guess what you mean is that some violence is in retaliation to the project, which you say is violence." Alright, someone else responded to my initial tweet with this: "A multi-agency militarized police force is violence. Everything else in response is self-defense." I replied, "So burning a civilian working class person in their truck is self-defense?" And if you saw my last video report on this stuff, you understand what it is that I'm saying there. Here's a photo of that burnt out truck. And I'm saying attempted murder and endangering the forest with fire seems more like domestic terrorism. They replied, "That man was facilitating the ecological destruction of the forest. He uses truck/tools towards state violence, thus defense." Now, you saw the interview, I hope, folks, in my other video, where the guy was explaining, yeah, I saw a broken down truck, a junked out truck on the side of the road, and I thought I would salvage some parts from that. And then they apparently tried to burn the man alive in his truck. And this idiot's like, he's one of them. He's a fascist. So I answered, what are you basing that on? Seems more like he was picking up trash and was attacked by caustic sociopaths.
He was actually cleaning the environment, and they didn't like that.
Yeah, and so I retweeted to that person, this by Antifa Watch. A second man was thrown at a car, but appears to have not ignited. A second was thrown at a car. So they're talking about, burning the guy. And I retweeted that to this person, and I added, so setting the forest on fire is defense. And one reply to that is, yet no forest on fire, while masses of it are destroyed by the state in service of police violence. Missing the point. Cops' car on fire, on the other hand, deserve it. Still destroying the environment.
Killing birds.
That too.
Birds,
LOL.
butterflies, bees, and a bunch of other fun things.
LOL. Can't be mad at a thing that didn't happen while ignoring the thing that did happen. I answered, did you bother to watch the videos? Seems more like they are trying to set the forest on fire. I mean, it landed far, far, far away from any vehicle. I also am, in fact, mad at what the cops did, but you're too busy lumping me into a stereotype to know that. Also, I added that defendant Atlanta Forest is endangering the forest with Molotov cocktails defense of the forest. Retweeting Antifa Watch talking about those Molotov cocktails. Another response to my initial tweet in this thread was this by this person, I don't know, something, whatever that. Remember, kids, when your diet contains leather and shoe polish, police beating and shooting protesters doesn't count as violence. So that's to me.
Okay,
and so I answered...
people for speaking freely in public is somehow self-defense when Antifas want to yell it.
Right. So that's to me. So I answered back to this person, I did not even hint at such a thing. In fact, I am on record criticizing those law enforcement agencies. Try to not stereotype people because that's bigotry. This is a clip from the videos that I showed the other night. This is at what point? This is February 9th. This is when the video started coming out of the body cams that we showed you in the last video about this. This is actually part 2 of a 2-part series. So there you go. More wise-assery from me. Stacey Abrams. Yeah, there's just so much to go into. We just can't really do it. Maybe I'll read the postscript because it's short enough. Postscript. With millions of dollars at stake, people who get in the way might end up dead. We know we can't trust the government or big corporations, nor can we trust Antifa or even trust law enforcement necessarily, unless the small town sheriffs that you elect yourself. We don't know what really happened, at least not yet. It's not likely that video footage of the actual deadly shooting will surface, but we'll see. There aren't just two sides to the story. There are people who oppose the project and who do not appreciate being terrorized by Antifa unless all the terrorism is part of a false flag operation, but they don't appreciate that. Is it likely that agents pretending to be Antifa came out of the woods where Antifa were playing Treehouse Ninjas to attack that man and almost burn him in his truck, that guy. It seems more like that Antifa just did what Antifa does and what Antifa justifies doing anyway, which is to harass and terrorize people, light stuff on fire, attack innocent people, and so on. Now, again, this seems to be the 12th Antifa killed in the United States of America. Let us recall that Antifa has killed Aaron J. Danielson, for example, Lee Keltner, the unnamed teen and the Chaz, and of course the Dayton, Ohio shooter, Connor Betts, whose social media did show that he was Antifa, reportedly wounded 17 people and killed 9 people. And that's just in the United States of America, folks. Now, be sure to see my report on this, Antifa Domestic Terrorism at Cop City, Atlanta, March 5th, 2023, a new chapter in the battle wherein the 12th Antifa was killed. And my other report, Antifa Domestic Terrorism at Cop City, Atlanta, March 5th, 2023. That one's a video version of the aforementioned, which was written. Thank you, everyone. Liberty my right, truth my sword, laughter my shield, knowledge my steed, love my nourishment, honor my reward.
So it was a largely peaceful protest where they just wanted what they're calling justice so sorry. And right now, you'll see, basically, they want justice for him.